The experience really comes from seeing what's happening in communities around us, but also us being a sponsor at the Gender-Based Violence Center. You get a real view of what's actually going on in our country, which is quite sad.
Men in this country have taken it upon themselves to attack women and children. It is something that affects us daily. It's something that impacts us as a nation, not only in terms of the actual violence that perpetrated, but at the very core and the soul of our nation.
When we look at the term violence, we often think it's somebody hitting someone or potentially doing something harmful to that person physically. But a lot of the time, the violence that occurs in GBV is not really always physical. It can be discrimination, it can be shaming of a person for the particular gender or the way that they behave in that gender role, and just also bodily autonomy, not allowing people to have a right to their own body and to how they want to be seen or perceived.
It goes even further to women and children, but beyond that, even to the LGBT type community, which gets even more of this kind of pressure from society at large.
I think the same abuses or discrimination that affect women in the physical space can exist in the digital space, considering that gender-based violence isn't necessarily physical. Some of the forms of discrimination and oppression on digital platforms is hacking, tracking or surveillance, sharing of content, harassment.
I think the first step towards solving gender-based violence is really, as with many things, starts in the home. I think it starts with personal ownership, and I think it starts with what we teach our children.
My message is for men. And my message to men is that you need to be the change that you want to see. You need to think about what your behavior implies, what your behavior approves of, and you need to take a stand. Because the people that are being abused cannot take a stand. If they could, they would. It's up to us to make the change and to be the light.
The biggest thing that we need to do is educate our children, educate the people around us, but also speak up. Speak up when we know of someone who's being subjected to gender-based violence. Also help them through it, that it's not okay. It's not okay to subject themselves to such abuse. They need to leave. They need to stand up for themselves. And we need to support them. And I think that's the biggest part that we can play as a society.